Part 68. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 671. Of course the Li group acknowledges what Murong Shui said. At this time, Li Chen had already walked out and stood beside Murong Shui and said. Zhao group also promised to be effective. Zhao Hualiang also stood up and gave an explanation on this matter. As long as it is jointly produced by Li and Zhao, as long as it is genuine, if something goes wrong, both groups will be responsible. With their guarantee, it is finally a powerful tranquilizer for today's turbulent market. The stretch mark removal market is now the most harmful, but it is also a huge battlefield for profit. As long as Li and Zhao grasp it, they will definitely recover the interest in the future. Although the slimming tea market has also been disrupted, it is not that serious. In addition, Xiaofeng tea rose to prominence midway, and the result was that the sales volume of one drink is light was directly cut in half. Subsequently, more and more people revealed that there was something wrong with Gu slimming tea, and tap water kept checking in on Xiaofeng tea. As a result, Xiaofeng tea has become a sudden rise. Today, the market is even more prosperous. In many places, it is almost impossible to get Xiaofeng tea. After all, there are really not many of them. After attending the press conference, Li Chen sent Murong Shui home first. Chengdu. The old housekeeper of the Gu family stood aside respectfully until a car slowly arrived. It was Zhao Dezu who got out of the car. The two old men's eyes were red when they met. They held each other's hands for a long time and then sat down on a chair nearby. The two old men looked at the dark night sky and were speechless for a long time. Qing Feng. Old butler Gu hesitated. If he hadn't rebelled, Gu Qingfeng would not have been defeated so quickly. Because he is Gu's old man, he can get any evidence. Because Gu Qingfeng was unprepared, his salary was taken out of the cauldron. Although old butler Gu has been with the Gu family for many years, it was Zhao Dezu who saved his life back then. As for betraying the Gu family, it doesn't count. The things that the Gu family has done over the years are really too numerous to describe, but this is the only one that came out. These are not your problems. Zhao Dezu sighed, his original path has gone astray. Even if he doesn't explode this time, he will explode sooner or later. Thinking of the human experiments conducted by Gu Qingfeng and those who were framed, Zhao Dezu could not forgive Gu Qingfeng. However, now that Gu Qingfeng is dead, it is hard to talk about what happened before. Then what will you do next? Zhao Dezu asked. Mr. Gu said, I have saved a little of my salary over the years, and am planning to go back to the countryside, plant an acre or two of land, and raise some poultry. This is it for the rest of my life. After being with the Gu family for so many years, he had lived a life of trepidation. Now, he has repaid Zhao Dezu's kindness and has done everything he should do. As for what will happen next, it has nothing to do with him. When Zhao Dezu heard this, he sighed, patted the back of old butler Gu's hand heavily and said, that's fine. I won't advise you anymore. With that, he took out another bank card and said, don't refuse, I have worked hard for you all these years. I was worried that Gu Qingfeng would gradually go crazy, so I let you stay there. After all, you have to pay the price for so many years. Although Gu Qingfeng is obsessed with money, he is still good to his family and relatives. I understand the torment and pain in your heart. It's just, this is the only way I can express my apology. Please don't refuse. Old butler Gu nodded bitterly. It was difficult for him to behave in the middle. In the end, Zhao Dezu arranged for people to send Mr. Gu back to his hometown. As for him, he had to help rescue the people who were framed by the Gu family. With the release of the video of Murong Shui's promise, those who were originally against Li Chen because of the Gu family were persuaded. More importantly, although many hospitals have received help from Li and Zhao, it does not mean that their treatment is timely. Doctors are human beings too, and they also need to rest. What's more, there are now as many as 1 million patients involved. Even if it is spread across the country, it is still a staggering number. Therefore, the Lee Group is almost always working overtime day and night. I can't help but work overtime. There is so much shortage everywhere now. You can rely on Swarong ointment for early treatment, but there is really nothing you can do for later treatment. That still requires the cooperation of the hospital. Li Donglong hasn't had a good sleep for a long time. He has been worried since his father fought back against Gu. Now, the Gu family has finally been dealt with, but the mess left by the Gu family is far from over. Next, if many companies such as Gu's collapse, other companies will inevitably appear. Some people will stick to their original intentions, but some people may not be able to do so in the face of huge interests. Li Chen only hoped that nothing bad would happen next. Li Donglong was busy late and followed Shen Jian home. Li Chen is still working overtime, accompanying Zhao Dezu on medical visits, and will come down earlier tonight. Li Donglong waved to Shen Jian before going upstairs. When he heard a clanging sound coming from the kitchen, Li Donglong's eyes jumped wildly and he rushed into the house. They saw Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu shivering and hiding at the door. Cauldron. When Li Biwu saw her dear brother coming back, she burst into tears and threw herself into Li Donglong's arms. The little girl was frightened. She pointed her chubby little white finger at the kitchen and said, "Mummy, Mummy is burning again." Li Zifeng quickly covered her stupid sister's mouth. At this time, the four siblings saw Murong Shui standing in the kitchen, wearing an apron, turning her head and looking at them with sharp eyes. "Mom." Li Donglong looked at the messy kitchen, a little impatient, and tried to suggest, "How about, let's order takeout." "What takeout?" Murong Shui knocked the iron pot with a spatula, making a clanging sound. "Isn't the food I cook delicious?" Li Zifeng and her brothers and sisters looked at each other, really not knowing how to answer the question of their old mother. If they say it's delicious, they really can't lie. If they say it's not delicious, then no one can think of eating and sleeping tonight. After all, this family is still ruled by the mother. Dad, the dog, can't be counted on. Li Donglong looked at the eyes of his three brothers and sisters asking for help, and boldly walked to the kitchen and said, "Mom, you are very hard, how can you cook?" Murong Shui stared at her eldest son with sharp eyes. "Dad has already said that you only need to wash the dishes. Cooking is very hard work. Besides, the smell of oil smoke in the kitchen is very strong." Li Donglong pointed at the range hood and said, "This will affect your charm. Although you have decided to move behind the scenes, even if you are extremely beautiful, you have to pay attention to it, right? If you don't believe me, ask Xiao Wu and the others." Murong Shui looked at the three children suspiciously, and the three children nodded heavily. Li Donglong said, "So, leave the hard work of cooking to Dad, what do you think?" "Well, what you said makes sense, but don't say it next time," Murong Shui insisted. "As a mother, how can I not know how to cook? I will be disliked if I live in Jia village in the future." The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 672. Li Donglong spread his hands to his three brothers and sisters, saying that he had tried his best. "It's not that I didn't stop my mother, but my mother really wanted to torture us." Even the little foodie Li Biwu, with her chubby little face, was tangled up. Li Donglong expressed sympathy to his brothers and sisters. Sure enough, they were suffering when their father was not at home. "However, my father would be back tonight." Li Donglong quietly left the restaurant and took his clothes to take a shower. He was really tired these days. After taking a shower, Li Donglong sniffed his nose and smelled a strong burnt smell. But it doesn't matter, he has already eaten and can refuse later. Thinking of this, Li Donglong sat on the carpet in front of the sofa with his laptop and began to work seriously. "I came back early today, mainly because the company's major affairs have basically been dealt with, and staying in the company can only do nothing. Li Zifeng is busy now, because Kang Quilai and others directly used Xiao Feng's photo as the image pattern of Xiao Fengti. The result is that Li Zifeng is now well known in China at a young age. Moreover, with the recent reversal of the reputation of Li Anzhao, Li Zifeng has also become a hot commodity. Today, her national popularity is much higher than Xiao Wu, mainly because there are too many people who need Xiao Fengti now. So many that they can't be counted. More importantly, Li Zifeng is known as the Zishi of tea in the world. Although she is young, she is very famous. Li Chen's Douyin account is now managed by Li Zifeng. Although there are still a lot of people scolding their family every day, Li Zifeng is no longer as fragile as before. She knows very well how arrogant the current network personnel are, and they follow their own code of conduct. If they are unhappy, they will scold angrily, and then exit the software as if nothing happened. However, they never know that online violence can drive a person to death. Li Zifeng's self-regulation ability was honed during this period. Although she is young, her tolerance is increasing. Some people just come to scold and find a sense of existence, some scold them for their wealth, and some say they are pretentious. In short, the reasons for scolding are all kinds of strange. There will always be people who don't like their family. Li Nanfei and Li Biwu are playing Go Bang. Although Li Biwu often loses miserably, Li Nanfei has no intention of showing mercy. Ah! Li Nanfei looked at Li Biwu's hand and bit it hard. He was so painful that he wanted to hit this stupid sister. Xiao Li Donglong's sharp eyes swept over, exuding a faint majesty. Li Biwu immediately let go of his third brother's hand and looked at Li Donglong with some fear. Li Donglong stood up and looked at the tooth marks on Li Nanfei's hand. It was not very heavy, but it definitely hurt. Who told you to bite? Li Donglong stood in front of Li Biwu with a serious face, and his voice was indescribably angry. Sanguo won't give in to me, Li Biwu pouted and said in a low voice. Can you bite people if you don't give in? Li Donglong scolded. Did I teach you to bite people, or did your parents teach you to bite people? Brother, forget it. Li Nanfei looked at his brother's angry look, and felt a little scared. He was very angry at first, but he couldn't bear to see his brother teach Xiao Wu. This is not a trivial matter. Li Donglong glanced at Li Nanfei coldly. She is ignorant. Are you still ignorant? Li Nanfei was silent in anger. His brother was so scary. Apologize to you, Sanguo. Li Donglong stared at Li Biwu seriously and said, if I see you biting people again in the future, don't blame me for beating you. Li Biwu stood up weakly, glanced at the angry De Guo with red eyes, and said softly to Li Nanfei, Sanguo, fight back. It's okay. Li Nanfei laughed dryly and touched his stupid sister's head. My sister is just like a child. She gets anxious when she can't play. Li Donglong's face looked better. He snorted and turned to work. When Li Donglong was working, Li Nanfei immediately hugged his aggrieved sister and said, brother didn't mean to be mean to you, do you know? Ji Dao. Li Biwu nodded obediently, looked at Li Nanfei with tears in her eyes and said, Sanguo, I didn't mean it. San brother knows you didn't mean it. Li Nanfei rubbed his little sister's head, but brother is right, biting is really wrong. Hearing this, Li Biwu took Li Nanfei's hand with teeth marks and said, Sanguo, does it hurt? It hurts a little. Huff. Li Biwu blew gently on Li Nanfei's hand, although he spit out saliva. But looking at his stupid sister, Li Nanfei couldn't think of disliking her. It's time to eat. Murong Xue naturally noticed this scene, but she didn't intervene. Since her eldest son has come forward, she will not mention this matter again. Although Xiao Wu occasionally makes mistakes, she is not ignorant. Li Zifeng pretended not to hear it and concentrated on holding the phone, as if she was very busy. Li Nanfei and Li Biwu immediately lowered their heads and continued to play Go Bang. Murong Xue stood by the dining table. She was originally full of confidence, but when she saw that the 4 children did not move, she suddenly became a little angry. "Come and eat right away," Li Donglong said seriously, like a cool boss. "Mom, I'm dealing with things, you guys eat first." He lowered his head again and said to the chat interface, "Report to me right away, the more the better." The company group exploded immediately, thinking that CEO Li was angry, so countless messages came in. The sound of ding dong kept ringing. Li Donglong breathed a sigh of relief. This group of employees was great and saved him from the water and fire. Li Zifeng raised her head a little embarrassedly. "Mom, I'm still dealing with the order now, you and Xiaofei and Xiao eat first." Li Nanfei. Li Biwu. Looking at her dazed little son and daughter, Murong Shue's face showed a sneer. "Even if there is a big thing now, you have to let it go. Come and eat right away." At this time, Murong Shue was already a little angry, and her pretty face was covered with frost. Li Zifeng smiled bitterly, knowing that she couldn't escape. Just as he stood up, he suddenly closed his brother's computer and said, "Brother, let's go together." Li Donglong, Li Nanfei and Li Biwu, who were standing beside him, cleverly pulled Li Donglong from the left and right. Now Li Donglong had no choice but to stand up. "Brother, as the saying goes, we share happiness and difficulties. It's really unfair for you not to taste my mother's food," Li Nanfei muttered. Li Donglong was put on the table. Looking at the dishes on the table that could not be seen in their original appearance, he swallowed hard. As expected, God is fair. He gave the best skin and happiness to my mother, and he must deprive her of some talents. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 673. Li Donglong couldn't embarrass his mother, let alone dampen her enthusiasm. He took the lead and picked up the chopsticks, glancing at his 3 younger siblings. Li Zifeng's hands were shaking slightly, and she really didn't have the courage to use her chopsticks. Li Nanfei was smiling. He still had the basic qualities of an actor. As for the stupid sister, this is how a real foodie should behave. When I see something delicious, I will definitely rush to the front. But if she doesn't think it tastes good, she will try her best to eat it. As for the food that I can't even put down, I can only say that the food made by my mother is really a bit of a test." Li Donglong stretched out his chopsticks and landed on the plate of food in front of him that was burnt yellow with black burnt texture and didn't look like silk. After identifying it for a long time, he said, "Mom, this is potato shreds," Murong Shui explained with a hint of pride on her pretty face as she looked at Li Donglong. The corners of Li Donglong's mouth twitched slightly. He really didn't want to dislike his mother. But, he really didn't recognize this dish as shredded potatoes. "Ah, haha. Shredded potatoes," Li Donglong smiled. Under the gazes of Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu, his fingers trembled slightly and picked up a handful of potatoes that were still edible. Silk. There was nothing wrong with the smell. Li Donglong murmured in his heart and mustered up the courage to put it in his mouth. In line with the principle of keeping his mouth shut while eating without making any noise, Li Donglong didn't think much about it. Just as soon as he put it in his mouth, his expression changed. His originally normal face turned red instantly, and then turned pale, and he couldn't help but want to vomit. But seeing the expectant look on Murong Shue's face, Li Donglong could only swallow it alive. Li Zifeng silently handed over the water glass and gave Li Donglong a questioning look. "Brother, can you still bear it?" Li Donglong drank the entire glass of water, but he still felt it was not enough. So he stood up, poured a glass of water, and poured it into his stomach again. When Murong Shui saw her eldest son's reaction, she knew without asking how much of a failure this dish was. Li Donglong slowed down, thought about it for a moment, and almost vomited it out, but decided not to think about it anymore. Is it so unpalatable, Murong Shui muttered, then picked up a chopstick and put it into his mouth. Ahem. The next second, Murong Shui vomited it out and shouted frantically. Li Nanfei immediately handed over the water glass and said, "Mom, is it delicious?" Murong Shui was not in the mood to pay attention to her little son who was watching the theater. She raised her head and drank all the water in the glass, still feeling choked and spicy. The key is that the saltiness makes it bitter. After waiting for a long time, Li Donglong asked thoughtfully, "Mom, do you put mustard in your fried shredded potatoes?" Murong Shui smiled awkwardly and said, "There seems to be no chili powder at home, so I just..." Li Donglong, Li Zifeng, and Li Nanfei slapped their foreheads at the same time. Li Biwu, who was a little slower to react, immediately followed suit and slapped his forehead heavily. Murong Shui was so angry that her liver hurt immediately. These little bastards are so heartless. As a mother, don't you want to share the burden with your father? Li Donglong looked at the rest of the dishes on the table. To be honest, he really didn't have the courage to eat them. Ding dong. The doorbell rings. Li Biwu immediately slid off the chair and said, 11 Daba is back. The little girl rushed to the door, stood on tiptoes, and opened the door. I saw Li Chen standing at the door, the beard on his face growing in a circle. The whole person suddenly seemed to have aged a lot. Daddy, Li Biwu saw the bearded Li Chen and was stunned for a long time before he recognized him. The little girl immediately threw herself into Li Chen's arms with tears in her eyes, rubbing her delicate skin against Li Chen's rough face. What's wrong with you? In Xiao Wu's heart, Dad is handsome. Although Dada with a beard is also very handsome, she is not used to it. Li Chen laughed, picked up the little girl with one hand, and sniffed. So he sat down at Xiao Wu's seat, looked at the unspeakable dishes on the table, and took the initiative to pick up his chopsticks. Dante! Murong Shui was about to reach out to stop her, but it was already too late. The four brothers and sisters Li Donglong saw their father put the food into his mouth, and the hand holding Xiao Wu clenched his fist obviously. However, there was no expression of disgust on his face. Well, except for a little too much mustard and a little too much salt, the rest is okay. The fire should be lower when frying. Overall, it's pretty good, Li Chen commented while eating. Murong Shui quickly held Li Chen's hand and said, I know what the food I cook looks like, so don't comfort me here. Seeing that his wife seemed to have tasted it, Li Chen silently picked up Xiao Wu's water glass, drank it down in one gulp, and then handed the water glass to Li Donglong. The eldest son understood immediately and poured him a full glass. Murong Shui's excitement just now was instantly washed away by the father and son. She punched Li Chen hard on the arm and was so angry that she didn't want to speak. Li Chen laughed, kissed Murong Shui's flushed face, stood up and walked to the kitchen. You! Murong Shui was angry and ashamed. She found that the four little guys were looking at her with weird smiles on their faces, and stared at her. What are you looking at? I haven't seen it. Not really, Li Nanfei and the four of them laughed. Get lost, Murong Shui blushed, let your dad cook you something delicious. Hey, Mom, you should be happy. Li Nanfei came up and said, you are the fairy of our family, how can I make you tired? My dad should be in the kitchen with you. It's okay, Li Biwa clenched his fist and said, Mama, just rest, otherwise Xiao will be hungry, Wu. Li Zifeng covered the stupid sister's mouth, please be more careful. If you keep talking, we'll go hungry again. Li Donglong winked and immediately followed Murong Shui quickly. The two brothers, one on the left and the other on the right, massaged Murong Shui as if they were guardians. Murong Shui couldn't help but feel angry and funny. Usually these little guys were not so diligent. Nowadays, I really do everything I can to prevent myself from entering the kitchen. But when she thought about her cooking skills that even the family dog disliked, she really felt a little heartbroken. Couldn't God be more lenient and let me learn to cook? Speaking of dogs, Murong Shui remembered that she had never seen Daodu and the others. Where's Daodu? Where's Tuan Yun? Murong Shui exclaimed. She has been so distracted by MRSQ recently that she has forgotten that there are small animals at home. Mom, Daodu, and the others were sent back a few days ago. Li Nanfei didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Ah! Is that so? Murong Shui patted her forehead with one hand. I'm old, I can't remember things. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 674. Soon, a burst of fragrance came from the kitchen. Li Biwu and the others looked like they were not hungry at all. Now the food was not cooked yet, but the little guys were already staring at the kitchen with greed. Okay, it's time to eat, Li Chen shouted immediately after bringing out the last bowl of food. Li Donglong and Li Nanfei immediately jumped off the sofa, while Li Zifeng and Li Biwu had already sat on the chairs. Diamond sued. Murong Shui gritted her teeth at the sight. She stood up indignantly and decided that she would cook more often in the future and use these little guys as food tasters. Li Chen smiled and served the 4 children, and finally Murong Shui and himself. Li Chen leaned against Murong Shui, gently picked up the food with chopsticks and said, "Thank you for your hard work during this period." Murong Shui, who was a little jealous at first, softened her heart after hearing this. The man in front of her was obviously radiant, handsome, and unrestrained before. It's only been a few days, how come he looks so haggard? Her jealousy disappeared in an instant, and she touched Li Chen's cheek distressedly and said, "After dinner, wash up early and shave your beard." Okay, Li Chen smiled. Murong Shui couldn't help but put food in Li Chen's bowl. "Eat more. Mom, we want some too." "Go away. You're so biased. Now Dad is your treasure, but we are not." Murong Shui blushed and glared at the little guys. There was only Li Chen in her eyes. "Is it delicious?" Li Chen smiled. "Yeah, it's better than what Mom made." Li Biwu was covered by Li Zifeng's mouth. Li Donglong and Li Nanfei immediately looked at their old mother with narrowed eyes as if they were facing a great enemy. "Better than what I cook," Murong Shui snorted. "Since you are so disgusted, I will have to cook it every day in the future." "No, no, no, Mom, don't listen to Xiao Wu's nonsense. That's right, your cooking is also delicious." Li Donglong and Li Nanfei wanted to throw their stupid sister out. "Isn't it better to eat your food?" Murong Shui nodded and said, "Since you said my cooking is delicious, I will cook it even more." The 4 siblings collapsed on the chair with despair on their faces. Li Chen remained silent. These little guys were so stubborn, and they were caught, right? After eating, Li Chen went to wash up. Even if he reached the heavenly realm, such a continuous work was indeed a bit unbearable and unbearable. After taking a bath, although he washed away all the fatigue, he wanted to sleep even more. Li Chen lay on the bed, and his upper and lower eyelids could not help but start to close. Suddenly, Li Chen felt his chest was soft. He opened his confused eyes and saw Li Biwu lying on his chest. "Daddy," Li Biwu poked Li Chen's chest quietly with her little finger, "can I have sex with you tonight?" Li Chen looked at the cute little girl and gently hugged her. The little girl lay on the bed sideways. "Okay, but you have to promise Daddy not to wet the bed." Li Chen pinched Li Biwu's little nose. Li Biwu blushed immediately and hugged Li Chen with a giggle. After Murong Shui finished taking a bath, she just entered the room and was stunned. It is said that a long separation is better than a new marriage. She was planning to have a good time with Li Chen, but she didn't expect that there was no place for her on the bed. Li Chen was lying in the middle, with the eldest daughter on the left and the youngest daughter on the right. Both daughters were hugging Li Chen and sleeping sweetly. Murong Shui stamped her feet in anger, and just as she was about to go out, she saw Li Nanfei quietly walking over with a pillow in his arms. "What are you doing here?" Li Nanfei didn't expect to be seen by his mother, and laughed dryly. I'm just taking a walk." Murong Shui snorted coldly, "Your dad is now occupied by your sister and your sister, you don't have a chance." "Damn," Li Nanfei poked his head in, looking at his sister and sister who were sleeping with their dad, and was speechless. He looked at the angry Murong Shui, so he pulled Murong Shui and said, "I'll sleep with my mom tonight." "Get lost," Murong Shui kicked Li Nanfei's butt, "sleep with your brother, do you really think I don't know that you all want to sleep with your dad?" Murong Shui closed the door angrily, and her mentality was unbalanced. Those who didn't know would think that these four little guys were born by Li Chen, and she, as a mother, was actually despised. It's understandable that the daughter sticks to Li Chen, but even the son sticks to him, which is a bit too much. Doesn't she, as a mother, have any dignity? "Mom. Get lost." "Okay, good night then." Li Nanfei closed the door and slipped into his eldest brother's room. "Damn it," Li Nanfei rolled on the bed, "they are playing tricks." Li Donglong leaned on the bed and read a book, quite calm. "Brother, don't pretend, I saw it all, you were also planning to go to sleep with dad, right?" "I didn't." Hee, you still don't admit it, then why were you holding the pillow before? If it wasn't for the second sister who got there first, maybe you would have lay down." Li Donglong's face turned red, and he slapped Li Nanfei on the butt, causing Li Nanfei to scream in pain. "Why did you hit me?" "Sleep." "Ah, I'm so angry." Li Nanfei lay down obediently, and the sleeping posture of the two brothers was still much better than that of the two sisters. "Brother, when will we go back to the village?" "Soon, just these 2 days, we can go back after finishing things," Li Donglong said lightly. "I miss my great-grandfather a little bit." "Me too." "Then we have to do big things after we go back." "What big things?" "You don't know." "I should know. The transformation of our village is a surprise for Xiao Wu from my father. Of course, the rest of the arrangements are also for the wedding scene with my mother." "Hiss. Is it true?" "Of course it's true, I'm involved." "No, I have to participate too. Does my mother know?" "I don't know, we claim to be building a big paradise, but it's not just that." "Why didn't you say it earlier?" "I have to search, and I have to keep an eye on the design team." "It's so late, don't bother, go to bed now." "That's fine." The night fell quietly. The night in Chengdu is not like the bustling metropolis that are always open. At about 11 o'clock, everyone went to bed. Murong Shui slept soundly that night. She had been worried every night during this period. Although she knew that Li Chen would eventually resolve these problems, as a wife, she couldn't help but worry. Next, after everything was settled in Rongcheng, they could go back to the village. The construction and reconstruction of the village was still going on. It was a huge project. Since Li Chen had paid the money, he should keep an eye on it. Compared to the big city, she liked the village more now. In the early morning, there were no animal calls, no cicadas, no chickens, ducks, and geese, but only mechanical sounds. When Li Chen opened his eyes again, the sun outside the window was particularly dazzling. "Dad, are you awake?" The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 675. Li Bu sat on the bed, carefully tying Li Chen's hair. Li Zifeng was still sleeping soundly. Li Chen rolled his eyes, feeling that his little daughter was practicing on him. He got up gently, picked up Li Bu, and the little girl immediately giggled. He closed the door gently, letting Li Zifeng continue to sleep for a while. Li Chen rushed to the bathroom with Li Bu in his arms and put her on the floor. Only then did he see clearly what his hair looked like after being tied by Li Biwu. After squeezing toothpaste for Xiao Wu, he handed her the small toothbrush, and the father and daughter stood in front of the sink, rinsing their mouths and brushing their teeth together. Li Biwu's favorite thing was to do these things with Li Chen. Spit it out. Ha, 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 Li Biwu spit out all the mouthwash, and then waited for Li Chen to help her wash her face. Li Chen's face washing has always been relatively simple, that is, wet the towel with water, and then rub it on the face a few times, and that's it. As for the hair tying issue, Li Chen had given up and just let Xiao Wu's magic of love spin in circles, which was simple and convenient. As for the hair on the top of his head that was tied up by Xiao Wu, he was too lazy to take it off. Xiao Wu liked it, so she did it. The father and daughter came to the living room and found that Li Donglong and Li Nanfei were actually up. The two brothers sat on the carpet and were excitedly planning something. "What are you doing?" "Dad, you scare people to death." Li Nanfei was startled and patted his chest to complain. Li Chen sat down, and Li Biwu leaned in Li Chen's arms, especially clinging to his dad at this moment. Li Donglong turned the computer around and said, "I heard that the Grand Paradise is being built, and there is also a wedding site." "Huh?" Li Chen glanced at Li Nanfei, who immediately laughed and said, "This matter cannot be hidden from Big Brother." Yes, Li Chen smiled and said, "I have arranged everything. I think we have to see it in person when the time comes." "I thought it was just the Grand Paradise before." Li Donglong said, "Since you are going to hold a wedding with my mother, I hope it will be grand, romantic, and unique." "You can do all these," Li Chen was surprised. "Don't underestimate your son." "Okay," Li Donglong snorted, "don't worry, I will only change your original design." "Okay," Li Chen didn't ask much. His sons wanted to help out, and they were kind-hearted. As long as it doesn't affect the overall situation, it doesn't matter. "Xiao, let's go make breakfast." "Okay." Li Biwu immediately took Li Chen's little finger and followed Li Chen into the kitchen. Just after Li Chen finished making breakfast, Murong Shui and Li Zifeng also got up one after another. Li Nanfei, who heard the noise, immediately signaled his eldest brother to turn them off. Breakfast was ready-made, with an extra poached egg for each person. After breakfast, Li Donglong and Li Chen had to deal with some things, so they had to go out. Murong Shui continued to stay at home with the three children. Li Group. When Li Chen and Li Donglong arrived at the group, all the staff were already in place. Yang Ming and his secretary Yang Hong also stood quietly by. "Thank you for your hard work during this period." Li Chen smiled and said, "I booked a restaurant nearby at noon to reward everyone." "Thank you, Mr. Li. Mr. Li is mighty. Mr. Li is domineering." The people who were originally exhausted suddenly smiled. In addition, everyone has been under a lot of pressure during this period, but no one has caused trouble. I decided to reward everyone with 500. Wow! The employees within the group were immediately like chicken blood. For them, 500 is indeed not much. But 500 is also money. It's hard not to be overwhelmed by the big meal and the bonus of 500 in cash. The feeling of a string of numbers and the money in hand is completely different. Before, many people came to work at Li Group just for the high salary. As soon as they came here, they felt boundless pressure and endless despair. That moment was the darkest moment of Li Group, but it is different now. Li Group has survived and stood up. However, no one dared to let down their guard. At this time, Li Chen's reward made everyone feel that it was worth it. In fact, they really don't know much about Li Chen. During this period, Li Chen's news was flying all over the sky, but no one had really met him in person a few times. On the contrary, everyone is familiar with the president Li Donglong. He is young, capable, and the key is that he is very good to everyone. Now, this handsome father and son stand together, making everyone feel envious and unreal. Li Chen smiled and patted Li Donglong on the shoulder. Li Donglong immediately said, "The last good news, do you want to hear it?" "Yes." Everyone's face showed anticipation, looking at Li Donglong with expectation. After today's work, our Li group decided to give everyone 2 days off to have a good rest. Of course, this is paid. Roar. Oh. Everyone's emotions could no longer be held. Paid vacation, this is equivalent to taking money for nothing. After 2 days of rest, work for 2 more days, and then there is time to rest again. Looking at everyone's excited faces flushed, Li Chen also smiled. Then, I hope that everyone will not make mistakes today, and leave work on time after finishing the work. Yes. The entire company's employees responded in unison. When Li Chen and Li Donglong left, the whole place was boiling. Yang Ming and his son also smiled, and began to distribute big red envelopes to everyone under the leadership of Secretary Yang Hong. At this moment, Yang Ming and his son couldn't help but think of the time when Li Hoxian was there. At that time, Chairman Li only had research in his eyes. Although the treatment was also very good, it was far less popular than that of Li Chen and his son. The assets of the Li group are now rising at an extremely hot rate. The main reason is that there are too many obese people now, a number that everyone is surprised by. In addition, everyone's fitness time is really not much and not enough. Working is tiring enough, how can you stick to it every day? Tea garden. Kang Quilai was lying on a recliner in the sun, with a pot of tea placed next to him. Since drinking the Xiaofeng tea, Kang Quilai's face has become thinner. He still likes his chubby look, but he can't bear to give up this tea. If he doesn't drink it, his mouth will feel uncomfortable, but if he drinks it, his body will become thinner. Uncle Kang. Kang Quilai was startled and stood up from his chair in an instant, and saw Murong Shui, Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei and Li Bu was standing at the door. "Sister-in-law, why didn't you tell me so that I could send someone to pick you up? Come in and sit down quickly." Kang Quilai immediately asked Murong Shui and the others to sit down and told someone to get some snacks. "Uncle Kang," Li Nanfei and Li Bu also shouted. "Hey!" Kang Quilai laughed loudly, feeling quite happy. He found that he liked Li Chen's little kids more and more. Li Zifeng sat next to Kang Quilai, looked at his face seriously and said, "You've lost weight." Kang Quilai's heart tightened and he said, "What's wrong? Is he not as good looking?" "No, he's quite handsome." Li Zifeng laughed and said, "Just a little worse than my dad." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 676. Kang Quilai tapped Li Zifeng's forehead, "Just compliment me on how handsome I am, and bring your dad with you. Do you think everyone can be as capable and handsome as your dad?" Murong Shui was almost amused. Kang Quilai was such a good-natured person, even though he and Li Chen had always disliked each other. But they all knew that Kang Quilai had no bad intentions. When someone came over with a lot of snacks, Li Bu's eyes lit up instantly. Without Li Bu causing trouble on the side, Murong Shui said, "Did you ask us to come here this time?" Kang Quilai made a cup of tea for Murong Shui, then handed a cup to Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei, and then said, "Currently, there are almost 23 tea kings who have good relations with me and are distributed in various provinces across the country. At first, they just promoted our Xiaofeng tea just for my sake. But, after drinking our tea, they were no longer calm. During this period, our Xiaofeng tea has always been on the home page." Kang Quilai said as he took out the tablet. "There are extremely clear data records on it, and you can see the data changes every day." Murong Shui looked at it carefully. At first, Xiaofeng tea's sales were not very good because of Li Chen's relationship. Even with the guarantee of these tea kings, sales can be described as miserable. However, as more and more people automatically check in on the internet, the one who is really popular is the anchor named Mei Zinking. Her check-in record officially opened the door for Xiaofeng Cha to sound the clarion call for counterattack. From this day on, Xiaofeng T's sales began to increase dramatically, and then it became a hit. Until he completely pushed Gu down from the altar with a drink. Now, looking back, there are all the positive comments. Everyone thanked me and asked for tea. However, the problem now is that even if Li Chen had prepared beforehand and purchased all the surrounding tea gardens, it was not enough. What's more, production and processing also takes time. Now everyone's demand is so strong, so almost all channels are out of stock. Murong Shui scrolled down and saw many comments. It's really a conscientious slimming tea. No, it shouldn't be called a slimming tea. This is too insulting. This is an absolutely conscientious tea. In addition to its own weight loss effect, it also has the effect of regulating the 5 internal organs. It's really absolutely. It's a pity. I just grabbed a pack and I'm almost finished drinking it now. Please hurry up. I'm really begging. The stomach problems I've had for so many years have eased a lot. More importantly, this is the healthy way to lose weight that I've been looking forward to. I begged the store owner to put it on the shelves. Why are there always so few good products? Li Group, we wronged you, can you give us more products? I suspect it's hunger marketing. Hungry marketing sister, go check out the official website of Li Group. Their tea gardens are not large and are all done by hand. They don't use machines to fry at all. Do you understand? I don't know that this kind of tea garden is very time-consuming and labor-intensive. It's true that Goose Dog is here to cheat. If you cheat on it, what can you get? Did the Li Group raise the price? Did they try to trick you? I really accepted it. Countless comments are almost all defending the Li Group. The status of the tea gardens is updated almost every day. It is also telling everyone that there are not as many tea leaves as expected, and the production speed is not fast enough. There is nothing you can do about being anxious, you can only wait. Kang Quilai said, Xiaofeng Tea is taking a long-term approach, not a one-time deal. Xiaofeng is now the spokesperson of this tea. I think we can continue to create the series. In addition, I hope you and Li Chen will discuss it. We want to cooperate with you. When the time comes, you can take more profits, and we can take less. The market for Xiaofeng tea is really huge, and its effects go far beyond weight loss. The subsequent advantages are constantly being expanded, so Xiaofeng tea will only become more and more popular. They want to build a new brand and also want to develop this tea as much as possible. It is not in line with the style of a businessman to make money without making money. Upon hearing this, Murong Shui immediately said, okay, I will convey this matter, but I can't guarantee whether Li Chen will agree. Okay, Kang Quilai smiled. It's best to agree. Yasai. A large group of students surrounded Huang Yasai. Oh my gosh, you've really lost a lot of weight. You are so beautiful. This is the first time I see you wearing a skirt. Ah, do you still have Xiaofeng tea? Huang Yasai never thought that he would have such a high-profile day. Ever since she lost weight after drinking the Xiaofeng tea, her whole person seemed to have changed drastically. She has a slender figure, and because she likes sports, she looks even more toned. Knowing that she can get Xiaofeng tea every time, her return rate is even higher now. Huang Yasai shook her head in embarrassment and said, I'm sorry, I can't get it now. To be precise, my dad can't get it? Huh? Why? Because the demand is so hot, and there is not much Xiaofeng tea now, picking and hand-making is troublesome and takes time, Huang Yasai said, but my dad said that now all the major partners are looking for the Li Group. I will discuss with Director Li to see if we can expand the scale of cooperation. If it is feasible, maybe Xiaofeng tea will be free soon. That's good, that's good. Yes, when the time comes, Yasai, you have to help us grab some, please. Huang Yasai smiled and nodded, and walked home with a brisk pace. Huang Zongui looked at the mother and daughter who looked like a pair of sisters, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He really didn't expect that one day Xiao Fengti would change so much. Originally, his wife had a good figure, and after drinking Xiao Fengti, she was even better. It's just that he suffered a lot. He almost couldn't bear to pay public grain during this period. It's also thanks to the fact that Xiao Fengti is gone. He silently hopes that it would be better to come out later. I have to talk to Mr. Zhao about something. Huang Zongui looked at the mother and daughter and said, I may be back late at night. Okay, Dad, be careful, Huang Yasai said sweetly. Huang Zongui smiled, got in the car and went straight to Zhao Group. He didn't know whether the current Zhao Group would agree to continue to cooperate with them. After all, the Zhao Group has taken advantage of the situation and has risen to prominence. Today, Zhao is no longer what it used to be. The partners who had been optimistic about Zhao when Zhao was in its most difficult time are now a little unsure. Everyone went to the largest conference room of the Zhao Group. It was crowded, but they were all very nervous. If Zhao really didn't cooperate with them, they would have no reason to curse. After everyone waited for half an hour, when everyone thought Zhao Hualiang would not come, Zhao Hualiang and Li Chen finally showed up. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 677. The conference room at this time was overcrowded. This is at least twice the number of people compared to the last time the Zhao Group was in decline. Among them, many of them had chosen the Zhao Group, but chose to leave when everyone in the Zhao Group called for beatings. There are also those who are now seeing the Zhao Group becoming more and more famous and want to work together to get a share of the pie. Zhao Hualiang's appearance is not surprising, but he never expected that Li Chen would also appear. This made many companies present who came to seek cooperation feel a little uneasy. Who doesn't know now that the Gu Group, a once powerful empire worth hundreds of billions, was completely destroyed by this man? Although there is an element of Gu's own suicide in it, who can guarantee that there is no handwriting of this young man in it? Zhao Hualiang and Li Chen sat down one after another, and Zhao Hualiang said apologetically, Sorry, I have been dealing with company matters just now. No matter how dissatisfied you are, everyone will smile and say it's okay. Zhao Hualiang said, We at the Zhao Group have always acted with conscience, so we will make a few points clear before the cooperation begins. First, if you abandoned our Zhao Group before, you will definitely not have a share in this cooperation. As soon as the statement came out, the whole house was in an uproar. They really didn't expect that Zhao Hualiang would be so cruel. You know, those who can come to seek cooperation are basically not too bad. The faces of those sitting here have changed. Because there are really too many people who abandoned the Zhao Group before. Zhao Hualiang pointed to the door and said, So, please take it easy. Mr. Zhao, do you really want to do this? It's just a businessman's instinct to seek advantages and avoid disadvantages. Since everyone has the foundation to cooperate, they will naturally cooperate. Aren't you afraid of having a bad impact on the Zhao Group by doing this? After all, you are not the Gu family. The Gu family has learned from the past. These people became a little angry and began to threaten Zhao Hualiang in public. No matter who he is not a soft persimmon who can be manipulated easily. Zhao Hualiang is so disrespectful at this moment, which will make it difficult for them to behave in the future. Zhao Hualiang smiled sarcastically when he heard this and said, The Zhao Group cannot be the Gu Group, nor is it the Gu Group, but the Zhao Group knows how to select people, please. The group of people stood up, snorted angrily, and left with ugly faces. From today onwards, everyone has always been in harmony with the situation. However, Zhao Hualiang's expulsion will inevitably put them on the opposite side, creating many more enemies for nothing. Nowadays, the Zhao Group has become famous, and their every move has attracted much attention. Being kicked out at this moment will definitely have a great impact on this group of people. They will be given a bad label, and these companies will also be affected if they want to cooperate with others in the future. This is a great feud. These companies sitting down have complex thoughts. Was Zhao Hualiang's decision wrong? That's right. But maybe it would be better if it was more tactful. Of course, those who had supported the Zhao Group before seemed more relieved now. It wasn't until those people just left that Zhao Hualiang showed a smile. Everyone, I, Zhao Hualiang, am a person who prefers to follow rules. I have said before that you can take a look at the market's reaction before making a decision. Mr. Zhao, do you mean that the price should not be increased? Someone couldn't help but ask. Yes, Zhao Hualiang said, I keep my word. Before, you believed in me, Mr. Zhao. Even when the entire internet was black and everyone boycotted, you still believed in us without hesitation. What qualifications do we have to raise the price? What's more, cooperation does not mean that making money must be the first priority. You still have to be serious about doing business and making products. As long as the product has no problems, is conscientious, and is qualified, then are you still worried about not making money? Seeing Zhao Hualiang's hearty smile, everyone was filled with emotion for a moment. They were able to still choose to believe in Zhao Group when the Zhao Group was in the most critical situation. Just because of this, they were already beating other companies. And now, they are naturally qualified. Since Mr. Zhao has said so, it would seem petty if we continue to ask. Huang Zongui stood up and said, then let's sign the contract. Zhao Hualiang immediately smiled and nodded, and cooperation contracts were signed quickly. After everyone's contracts were signed, Huang Zongui couldn't help but look at Li Chen, who had been silent. May I ask if this is Mr. Li of the Li Group? Exactly. Li Chen stood up with a smile and shook hands with Huang Zongui. There are recent rumors that your company will study another formula to delay human aging with the Zhao Group. Huang Zongui couldn't help but pointed at his face and said, in today's big market, there are many anti-aging and antioxidant products, but, to be honest, their effects are very limited, and there are few products that can really freeze people's age. Birth, aging, illness and death are natural processes. Do you really think such a product will be available? Most of the people present were men, and there were very few women. Although men may also care about their appearance and aging, they definitely don't care as much as women do. But one thing is certain, both men and women like young faces. It would be interesting if this is the next research direction of Zhao and Li. Even if only a little bit of research results are obtained, it will definitely cause a sensation. But if the research is successful, then they can be sure that Li and Zhao will even become the new leading pharmaceutical companies in China. After hearing Huang Zonggui's question, Li Chen said, no research on anything can be 100% successful. Otherwise, both of us have certain confidence in this research, and I believe you will definitely see it. After this, everyone was a little restless. Li Chen and Zhao Hualiang did not give them the opportunity to ask more questions, and turned around and left the meeting room. But the company that this group of people had just signed a cooperation agreement was suddenly not calm. Zhao and Li are so confident, does that mean they were researching before? If so, then this research is very likely to succeed. Today, Zhao and Li are already in their heyday. Then once they succeed, won't they take off? Damn, when Huang Zongui and others woke up, they found that Zhao Hualiang and Li Chen were gone. Hurry back and let them know. Immediately ask the company's top management whether to cooperate with the Zhao Group again. Go, 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 there will be no chance if it's too late. They have already missed the best opportunity. If they miss it this time, they deserve not to make any money. Why did you tell us about our new research just now? Zhao Hualiang asked suspiciously, what are you thinking about? No. Li Chen laughed and shook his head. Seeing Li Chen like this, Zhao Hualiang knew that Li Chen must have a plan. Now the Snow Run Cream and Xiao Feng Tea are on the right track, but there is still a long way to go. Zhao Hualiang said, this incident has too much impact and involves too many people. You, be careful. I know. Li Chen took a deep breath and said, I want to get rid of all the dangers before getting married. Don't mess around. Zhao Hualiang was shocked. Although we have some strength now, we are not yet at the point of being completely opposed to those powerful families in the capital. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 678. Zhao Hualiang has also been preparing. From the available information, we can see that every one of the major families in the capital is participating. Now, except for the Xianyuan family and the Situ family, the rest seem to have residual traces. Zhao Hualiang also couldn't understand, what on earth were they planning? What exactly is longevity fruit? Is there really such a thing as immortality in this world? If so, then why did Li Hoxian and his wife not live forever, but died in the end? Although Li Chen said, Li Hoxian was most likely not dead. So the question is, what research was Li Hoxian doing during his lifetime? The big families in the capital didn't end up in trouble, but they manipulated the four big families in Chengdu to end up behind the scenes. Do you have any concerns? What role does the inspection department play in this? Were they trapped in the first place, or did they not want to intervene? The Dongfang family in the capital has now tricked the Gu family, and Zhao Hualiang always feels that this time it seems that the Dongfang family did it on purpose, as if they were deliberately trying to step on Li Chen. This kind of writing is not stupid, but it is definitely not clever. Zhao Hualiang wouldn't think that the Dongfang family, who was also in the first echelon of the capital, would be so brainless. Unless there is someone else secretly pushing this wave. Only in this way can it make sense. Because Li Chen had already killed the Gu family, he was completely separated from the Gu family. At this moment, Li Chen also knew that the Dongfang family was controlling the situation behind his back. According to Li Chen's previous temperament, he would most likely let it go. But it's different now. Li Chen will definitely step back. Zhao Hualiang didn't say much. Zhao and Li were on the same line and had the same heart. Do you have any clues now? Zhao Hualiang and Li Chen sat down in the office and poured Li Chen a glass of red wine. I'll make a bold guess. The one who appeared next to Gu Yunting before was the Red Skull. I don't know how strong the Red Skull is now, but I suspect that there are several of them in the celestial realm. Zhao Hualiang spit out a mouthful of red wine on the spot. How many people? He is not an idiot. How could he not study the world of martial arts? He also knows that the realm of heaven and man is the ceiling. One is enough to cause despair, let alone several. This is just a guess. The specifics will depend on the situation. Li Chen was very calm. In addition to the Red Skull, there were also Fuzu ninjas. As for the other people, I am not sure, but they are all the realm of heaven and humanity. If these are all local forces, then I can only say that these local powerful people in the heavenly realm are well hidden and have great plans. But at least they are all in China, so it makes sense why the inspection department didn't move in the first place. Zhao Hualiang narrowed his eyes and said, you mean, the inspection department has been restrained? Yes, Li Chen continued his analysis. However, there is also a second possibility, that is, those who appeared on Gu Yunting's side were all strong men from abroad. Zhao Hualiang's expression became solemn. Everyone outside the country is in the heavenly realm, which means that within their power, there are at least two powerful heavenly realm masters to start with. Except for the Red Skull, there were 5 masters from all directions who besieged you that day, except for the Fuzu ninja who was killed by you. In other words, there may be 9 heavenly beings outside the country. Thinking of this number, Zhao Hualiang suddenly had a headache. What if the big families in the capital also have the realm of heaven and humanity? The inspection department will still be tightly restrained, so this is also the confidence for them to take action. Zhao Hualiang just wanted to lie down. He never thought that he would be involved in such a whirlpool. But now it seems that they can no longer get rid of it, because they have also entered the game. Eternal life fruit, has your father told you about it? Zhao Hualiang asked. Li Chen spread his hands and said, if they hadn't mentioned this time, I wouldn't have known it to death. So they were looking for this thing. Where is your grandfather? Zhao Hualiang asked again. I don't know, Li Chen sighed. This can also explain why they first took action against Li Hoqiang and his wife. As for Li Chen and Li Chuanlong, they were just passing by. Besides, what did my mother have in mind when she poisoned herself? Is it to activate the system, or, I was really in danger at that time, so I poisoned myself first to let outsiders relax? Li Chen shook his head. There were some things that didn't make sense. Does the system involve immortality? He wasn't sure either. Nothing is unraveled yet. His father, Li Hoqiang, is most likely alive now, because Li Chen senses that there is always a pair of hands secretly fueling the fire. This time, the shadow of a pair of hands appeared, and he didn't believe that no one took action. So what are your plans? Zhao Hualiang said. If we can cooperate with you, we will definitely cooperate fully. Let's stabilize the current situation first. I want to send them back to the village first, and then prepare for the wedding. Li Chen exhaled and said, before getting married, put all these troubles to death. Li Chen is a person who is more afraid of trouble, but if the other party is always there, he will be very annoyed. Since you find it annoying, just kill them all. As for the inspection department, Li Chen felt it was necessary to go there and find out the truth. Maybe it will be helpful for the next trip north. Now, Li Chen's connections are not weak. After such a long period of performance, he should be able to counterattack. The Yuan family and Ye family in the capital, as well as Gao Derong and Emojias Hung, who had been lurking for a long time and had changed their appearance, were all behind the scenes. Not to mention, the Pei family has now risen to become a tyrant, and the Pan family in Jiangbei has officially become the leader that no one can ignore. Li Chen decided to kill and cripple all the second echelons in the capital first, and then he could concentrate on dealing with the rest. You need to control things here, Li Chen said. I will take them back first. No matter how chaotic it is outside, I will ensure that there is no chaos in Jiakan. Good. Zhao Hualiang did not go to see Li Chen off, but turned on the computer. Zhao Yingzi walked in, smelled the smell of wine, and frowned. Help me inform the shareholders of the meeting. We have to adjust the opportunity, Zhao Hualiang said without raising his head. In addition, arrange for someone else to protect you. You can break through the master realm with peace of mind. Li Chen will help you. Li Chen wants to solve all the troubles once and for all. If you don't become a master, you are not even qualified to help him. Zhao Hualiang raised his head and said. Zhao Yingzi thought for a while and nodded seriously. In addition, all projects of our Zhao group have begun to be recovered, and all funds have begun to be withdrawn. Li Chen will not wait too long. This time, once launched, it will definitely be a life and death battle. Zhao Yingzi has never seen Zhao Hualiang look so serious. Is it worth risking the entire Zhao family? My uncle and Li Chen were masters and apprentices. They were tied to death a long time ago. If I, Mrs. Zhao, don't participate, I will be beaten to death first. Do you understand? Zhao Yingzi shook her head. She didn't understand this. But if anyone dares to touch her family, she will kill them. Go, Zhao Hualiang waved his hand. At least for this month, Li Chen won't take action, right? After all, everyone has to be given a scheduling time. If all the major families want to cooperate in a unified way, a certain degree of tacit understanding is still needed. Chengdu. Li Chen returned home and found that Murong Shui was packing things with her children. When Xiao Wu saw Li Chen coming back, she immediately ran into Li Chen's arms and started to laze around. Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng curled their lips and expressed disdain for their stupid sister's behavior of not wanting to pack her own clothes. Murong Shui silently began to help Li Biwu pack up. By the way, Kang Kuilai came to find us before after Murong Shui finished cleaning up. She spoke to Li Chen. Li Chen cursed and said, "Isn't this fat guy still trying to take Xiaofeng as his goddaughter?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 679. Looking at Li Chen's vigilant look, Murong Shui shook her head helplessly. This man is sometimes too mature, but sometimes he is like a child. Li Zifeng also pretended not to understand and looked at Li Chen with a smile. For some reason, she felt that her arrogant father was very cute every time he wanted to beat Uncle Kang to death. After Murong Shui packed all the things in the box, she said, "What are you thinking? Others called us over to talk about serious things this time." Oh, Li Chen grinned immediately. As long as he didn't recognize Xiaofeng as his goddaughter, there would be no problem. Others want to talk to you about the follow-up of Xiaofeng T, Murong Shui said to her stingy man. However, the more Li Chen cared about his children, the happier she was. This also indirectly proved that Murong Shui's original choice was not wrong. When Li Chen heard that they were talking about work, his attitude immediately became serious. Xiaofeng T can expand its scale now, but it also takes time. At least for this period of time, it cannot expand rapidly, but I can make further arrangements after I go back this time. Then you talk to him yourself. Murong Shui did not intend to interfere in Li Chen's affairs. This is respect for Li Chen. Before, she was imprisoned at home and did not fulfill her responsibility to take care of the 4 children. Now, it is just right to make up for it. I heard that the school in the village has been built a long time ago, and all the most professional teams have been invited. Moreover, things are being installed one after another. Murong Shui is a mother, and she also wants to take her children to and from school like a normal mother. Li Chen picked up Li Zifeng's mobile phone, found Kang Kuilai's contact information, and dialed it on the spot. "Hello, Lao Kang." Kang Kuilai was speechless. This guy is really not reliable at all. I'll hang up if no one talks. What do you think about Xiaofeng T? Kang Kuilai was too lazy to talk nonsense with Li Chen and went straight to the point. Well, although I bought tea gardens in villages around us before, tea gardens are not formal after all, and there is not so much volume. Even cultivating new trees takes time, Li Chen immediately said seriously. However, if we control the volume for sales, I can still supply continuously. That's fine, Kang Kuilai said, then we will still cooperate with multiple parties and build this brand together. But I have another condition. What? Li Chen said vigilantly. The income from Xiaofeng Tea must be given to Xiaofeng, Kang Kuilai said. In the future, Xiaofeng can only be the spokesperson for Xiaofeng Tea. Li Chen. Is this your daughter or my daughter? Li Chen really wanted to beat this fat guy to death across the screen. Do you need to teach me about this? Tisk, Kang Kuilai hung up the phone immediately. Damn it, he dared to hang up on me. Li Chen was so angry that he jumped up and down. Li Zifeng, who was standing by, looked at his old father who was like a child, and couldn't help but feel helpless. She quickly stretched out her tender little hand to help Li Chen calm down. Dad, you are a big shot, you have to calm down, don't be angry. Feeling the tenderness of his daughter, Li Chen immediately grinned and said, Our Xiaofeng is still sensible. I am sensible too. A chubby little girl threw herself into his arms, and Li Chen couldn't help laughing. Yes, Xiao is also sensible. At this time, Li Nanfei had helped to pack up everything. Today, we will go back to Ljia village. Shen Jian had been waiting for a long time downstairs. He also drove a car specifically for transporting goods for Li Chen. The driver was also found, and the price he offered made the driver particularly excited. Old Shen, my Xiaolong will be handed over to you for the time being. Li Chen walked to Shen Jian and smiled. Sure, Shen Jian was not restrained, and he knew that Li Chen was not a restrained person. Li Donglong still had 2 days to deal with it, and then he would remotely host it in Ljia village. For Li Donglong's safety, the master Shen Jian had to stay. Let's go home. Li Biwu waved her hands excitedly. She was reluctant to part with a pile of toys, so she decided to take them all back. Li Nanfei complained while saying, "You are the laziest. I don't have any. Lazy Xiao. Lazy Sangguo. Stupid Xiao. Stupid Sangguo." Li Chen carried a pile of things and put them in another car, and Murong Shui and Li Zifeng also moved their things up. Their family took one car, and the other car followed. Let's go. Hurry up, Li Biwu, who was sitting in the back seat, was very excited. She had already taken out her mobile phone and called Li Chuanlong. Grandpa. Hey, Xiao. Look at us. Li Biwu held the phone in both hands and pointed it at Li Nanfei and Li Zifeng, which made Li Chuanlong very happy. We are here today. Do you miss us? Haha, Grandpa of course misses you, especially Xiao. Hee hee. Li Biwu shook left and right excitedly, and kept showing off, I miss Grandpa too, I miss the food that Grandpa cooked. Okay, then Grandpa will prepare it now, and when our Xiao gets home, she can eat the food that Grandpa cooked, okay. Okay, okay, Li Biwu held the phone and pouted her pink mouth and said, oh no. Ha ha ha. Grandpa Li Chuanlong's hearty laughter came from the phone, and he finally hung up. As long as the children say something, the elderly will always remember it in their hearts. He is the happiest old man when his great-grandchildren and great-granddaughters come back. It was a long journey, and after playing for a while, the 3 little ones fell asleep leaning against each other. When we arrived near Ljiakan, we could see a lot of vehicles. The road is still being widened, otherwise there will be no way to miss the car. Murong Shui looked at the changed village and couldn't help but exclaimed, is this our village? Yes, there was a smile in Li Chen's eyes, and he would not say anything. He was still preparing to give Murong Shui a wedding of the century. Li Zifeng, Li Nanfei, and Li Biwu also woke up. Li Nanfei lay by the car window and looked at the trees on both sides. Dad, is this the precious tree species you spent a lot of money to buy? Yeah, Li Chen said with a smile. There are too many cars going to and from the village, causing traffic to slow down now. Li Nanfei and Murong Shui stared at the scene with their eyes widened. The appearance of the entire village has undergone earth-shaking changes. All the water channels in the village were renovated and cement troughs were added. The surrounding houses are all different, but they are all unique and full of people. The last time Murong Shui saw so many people was when dozens of crew members gathered together during filming. Everything has become so strange, but it has not completely destroyed the original rural appearance. Finally, the car slowly entered the village, and Murong Shui was dazzled by the sight. However, Li Chen, who was driving, still noticed something was wrong. The project that was supposed to be started non-stop now seems to be stalled. In the rest area of the greenhouse, many people are resting, and even playing Jinhua and landlords. Li Chen frowned slightly. His project was in a hurry. Logically speaking, even if he had a rest, he only had time to sleep. How could there be so many people idle? The Country Life of a Rich Dad. Author, Wo Shihami Gua. Chapter 680. Li Chen slowed down the car, and he found that it was like this not just in one place, but in many places. Seeing this scene, Li Chen's face gradually darkened. What happened? Why doesn't anyone talk to me? Li Chen remained silent and drove home first. It can be seen that some projects are started very quickly and quite actively. But some projects are very lazy and negative. Li Chen stopped the car, and his grandfather Li Chuanlong heard the sound and immediately ran out of the house. Grandpa, after Li Biwu was carried out of the car, he immediately opened his hands and danced. Li Chuanlong, whose figure was obviously much hunched over, immediately knelt down to welcome Xiao Wu's hug. Xiao Wu has lost weight. Li Chuanlong looked at his precious great-granddaughter seriously. Is it okay? Li Biwu was very happy when he heard that he had lost weight. Well, I've lost weight, Li Chuanlong said seriously. Xiao Feng, Xiao Fei. Li Zifeng and Li Nanfei both came to Li Chuanlong's side, and the old man's face was full of smiles. Are you exhausted? We'll eat right away. Okay, the three little ones took Li Chuanlong's hand and rushed in immediately. As for Li Chen and Murong Shui, the three children didn't even look at them. Sure enough, it's his own. After moving all the things, Li Chen gave the driver an extra 200 yuan and didn't leave the driver to eat at home. The driver drove away happily. In the restaurant, the dishes on the table are extremely rich. There is a pot of sliced fish, a bowl of fat but not greasy braised pork, braised pig's trotters, sauced elbows, cucumber ham, egg cakes, loofah soup, winter melon slices, and fried pork with green beans. The dishes on the entire table look very appetizing. The three little ones sat on the table and waited until Li Chen and Murong Shui arrived before the three little ones started moving. Li Chuanlong took out a bottle of Zy liquor and said, "On the hour." On the hour. Li Chen nodded with a smile. Grandpa didn't ask about what happened recently, but Li Chen knew that Grandpa must be paying attention. Murong Shui ate with the three little ones, while Li Chen and Li Chuanlong drank some wine. No one mentions those who are unhappy. Now that the family is together, they are the happiest. Mom, please introduce me this time. Li Biwa clumsily served Murong Shui some vegetables. Thank you, Xiao Wu. Murong Shui smiled and thanked her. Li Biwa shook his head and served food to Li Chuanlong and Li Chen one after another. This meal was very satisfying and happy. The three little ones may have been outside for too long, but now they are particularly clinging to their great-grandfather Li Chuanlong. Even when Li Chuanlong was washing dishes at home, the three of them had to follow him. Li Chen moved the things down alone and then tidied them up. Because there are many construction projects in the village, the sound is inevitably noisy. Now everyone is investing in construction, which shows that the project is huge. But Li Chen couldn't be happy in his heart, because according to progress, at least 1/3 of the major projects at this time should be completed. But the actual situation is that these are not. After cleaning up the house, Li Chen took out his mobile phone, found the person in charge, and said, "I'm back, come to my house." Not long after, Zhou Zhang, Li Jianhua, Li Peng, Li Shanfu, Li Zixin and Zhang Fan, Li Feichen and Yan Zhenkai, and Li Chengwang and Hu Mian all came. When they saw Li Chen, these people all breathed a sigh of relief, as if they had found a backbone. Li Chen looked around and said, "Where is the village chief?" Now, the village chief is also responsible for some projects, and he is the person in charge of the overall situation. Shouldn't he not come? After Li Chen asked, he realized something was wrong. Seeing the strange expressions on the faces of the people in the room, Li Chen's voice couldn't help but deepen. Something happened. Zhou Zhang was originally a gangster, but when he stepped forward, Li Chen realized that this guy had actually failed. Not only that, his left arm was also in a cast and hung around his neck. Although Zhou Zhang is not a talented person in the martial arts world, he still knows how to use two skills. More importantly, he still practiced some skills under Li Chen's guidance. In addition, there were many people following him. How could he break all his hands? The village chief, is lying in the hospital now. Zhou Zhang gritted his teeth and said, "It's all useless to me." Li Chen looked at Zhou Zhang and others calmly and said, "Is someone making trouble in the village?" "Yeah," Zhou Zhang nodded and said, "there are a lot of people making trouble. And it's not just outsiders, but also the people who took over the project." "How many?" "A lot," Zhou Zhang said, "we can't do anything about them now. They have a large number of people, and more importantly, they are responsible for our projects after all. Now we are afraid of them." Li Chen listened quietly. "So, you are not sure who are the people behind the scenes. But now most of them have slowed down their pace, and are even preparing to delay it again and again." "Yeah," Zhou Zhang nodded. Li Chen nodded when he heard this. It seemed that what he saw was not wrong. What about the Sea of Flowers? Where are the water conservancy facilities in the whole village? Are they all stopped? Li Feichen and Li Chengguang's faces were a little ugly. Although they didn't stop, they were both affected. Seeing this, Li Chen realized how big the problem was. Although Li Chen had known for a long time that many construction teams and construction groups were of this nature, he never expected that this would eventually happen to him. All of this takes time. The longer it is delayed, the greater the amount of work will be. By then, the wedding date he was preparing for will inevitably be postponed. Li Chen glanced at the group of people and said, "What about Shansha? Why has it started to reduce production recently?" Li Shanfu hesitated to speak, and Li Chen knew without waiting for him to say that someone was making trouble again. "Do you think that he, Li Chen, is easy to bully?" "Take me." Li Chen stood up and said, "It is inevitable that those construction teams will make trouble. Because they are all of this nature, delaying and wasting time. Anyway, they have got the project, and you can't do anything to them. And now, another reason why they are so bold must be because of the previous struggle with Gu. At that time, Li Chen was almost on the verge of death. These construction teams will inevitably think too much. If Li Chen fails, can they still get the next project money? If Li Chen fails, will the entire project be shelved? Or, they have seen that Li Chen has been beaten to a low point, so they feel confident. Even if Li Chen wins the Gu group, he is still seriously injured. The financial strength of the big groups present may not be weaker than Li Chen. Naturally, they don't have to worry about anything." Zhou Zhang was excited when he heard that Li Chen was going. These days, he was really frustrated.